America, we got to get back to doing what's expected of us as free citizens in this democracy. That means being tolerant, being respectful, staying informed, and being engaged. I'm former Congressman Joe Walsh. Follow me here and join the millions of Americans who are renewing their social contract with each other. The social contract, it's on us. Hey, let me say at the outset that this will be a show that probably nobody listening or watching or downloading is going to like. This will probably be a show that will sadly piss off most people on the left, people on the right, and probably a hell of a lot of people in the middle. I'm going to talk about one issue. I'm going to focus on one issue. And by the way, it's hard today, this Thursday, to focus just on one issue. If you are an aware, informed American and you care about what's going on in this country every day and you pay attention every day, I don't know how you, like me, aren't pulling your hair out every single day. I'm going to talk about just one issue today. I could talk about 101 issues today. Where to start, right? I could talk about the former heroin addict, sexual deviant, horrible person, quack, an utter quack, who's not a scientist, who's not a physician, who Donald Trump put in charge of this nation's public health. And all that RFK Jr. is doing. Americans are going to die and get sick. A lot of Americans, because of what RFK Jr. and Trump are doing. I could spend a lot of time on that. Did you see yesterday? I could spend time on this. Our immigration cops, those masked ICE agents, did you see what they did yesterday? They arrested 2 firefighters. They arrested and detained 2 firefighters while those 2 firefighters were battling a wildfire. Good job, ICE. Good job, immigration cops. By the way, America, is this what you want America to be? I could talk about that. I could talk about Tulsi Gabbard, who is literally emptying out and destroying America's intelligence capability. Did you see that Tulsi Gabbard fired and outed a CIA agent while that CIA agent was undercover? I could spend all day talking about that. But I won't. I want to talk about one thing today. I want to talk about mass shootings in America today. I want to talk about school shootings. I want to talk about what happened in Minneapolis yesterday. I want to talk about this uniquely American issue, this issue that vexes America, this issue that most Americans, right? Most Americans, as Jack Nicholson said, can't handle the truth when it comes to mass shootings in America. Most Americans across the political spectrum. If you want to do something about it, if you watched the news yesterday, if you were torn up again, broken again, eviscerated again, because children in America on their second day of school were gunned down. If that destroys you as an American citizen and you really want to seriously do something about it, instead of just venting, instead of just mouthing off, instead of just right away going to your political corner and saying, boom, this is what we got to do, or this is what we got to do. If you actually want to try to minimize and maybe even eliminate this uniquely American problem of mass shootings, well, then take the next 15 to 20 minutes and listen to some hard truths and acknowledge some hard truths. Because if folks on the left and folks on the right and folks in the middle don't acknowledge these real truths about guns and gun violence and mental health and all of it in America, then we will never, ever, ever, ever stop, much less minimize what happened inside that Catholic church in Minneapolis yesterday. Let me start with this. Where I am, and many of you know this, but where I am politically on guns and gun rights and the Second Amendment. I am a huge gun rights advocate. I own guns. I use guns. I am a huge Second Amendment defender. I defend the Second Amendment every much as passionately as I defend the First Amendment. I am a gun rights outspoken supporter. So you know where I'm coming from. I'm a gun owner. So you know where I'm coming from. I used to be, like I used to be in so many political areas, an asshole on this issue. If it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years ago, if some gun control, gun safety person came to me and said, we need another gun law or we need to ban this or that, man, I was a jerk. I'd have gotten in their faces. Don't you dare come after my guns. Don't you dare try to ban my guns. You're trying to take away my guns. I used to be an asshole on this issue, like I used to be on so many issues. But I realized that didn't get anywhere, and that didn't solve this problem of mass shootings, school shootings in America. So I woke up and I began to listen to the other side, and I began to try to understand the other side, and I began to try to find some common ground with the other side, led by a bunch of good folks I know who helped me understand the other side. Friends like Fred Gutenberg, who lost his daughter Jamie in a school shooting in Florida. So I am a huge gun rights advocate. I'm not an asshole about it anymore. And I am constantly seeking understanding and finding common ground. I start there. Let me put some basic truths in front of everyone right now who's genuine in wanting to do something about this uniquely American problem. And let me emphasize that one more time. This is an American problem. I say that as a Second Amendment guy. I say that as a big gun rights guy. This is a uniquely American problem. Gun violence, mass shootings, school shootings. We only got this in America, okay? You got to be honest. Hey, all of my fellow Second Amendment and gun rights folks, you got to be honest and acknowledge, as I do, hey, this is a uniquely American problem. This doesn't happen anywhere else. I can acknowledge that truth. We have a gazillion guns in this country. We have a Second Amendment. We have a gun culture, by the way, that's gone wacko. I can explain why this is a uniquely American problem. But if you are a gun rights advocate and you don't have the balls or the decency to agree that this is a uniquely American problem, then my gun rights advocate, you can't handle the truth. Because it is. It is. After the shooting yesterday, I noticed a couple reactions right away. One reaction from the left was, well, right away, let me back up. Right away, whenever there's a mass shooting or a school shooting, whenever children in America are gunned down, the natural reaction instantly of so many Americans is to instantly think about and pray for the victims and their families. Thoughts and prayers. That expression, thoughts and prayers. That was my first instant reaction. It always is. Something horrible happened. 2 children were killed. A number of other children are clinging to their lives in a hospital. Don't know about you. I know about me. I'm a God-fearing man. My God, thoughts and prayers for those victims and the families. Seems pretty natural to me. Seems like a good thing for all of us to do. Remember, because it's not about us. It's not about you. We all want to rant. We all want to stand up in the public square and say, I'm pissed off about what happened in Minneapolis. Oh, I'm so devastated. I'm so torn. And people went on social media and were crying about what happened in Minneapolis and that church. And, oh, look at me. Oh, I'm broken up about this. Excuse me. It's not about you. I saw Democratic candidates for office doing videos talking about how emotionally distraught they were over what happened in Minneapolis, talking about themselves. 2 children were killed. 2 sets of parents lost their child. It's about them. Think about them. Pray for them if you're a praying man or woman. Don't make it about you. Don't make it about you and your politics. This is a truth for all of us as Americans. Not everything is about you and how you feel and what your take is. Children were slain. We all would do well instantly when this happens in America, because this is a uniquely American problem. We all would do well instantly to take ourselves out of the equation and focus on, even if just for a moment, focus on the actual victims. But this phrase, thoughts and prayers, so right away, a lot of people went on social media and said thoughts and prayers for the victims. And right away, a lot of folks, center and center left and left, right away demeaned that phrase, thoughts and prayers. Went after that phrase, thoughts and prayers. Attacked that phrase, thoughts and prayers. Said it ain't enough. I'm done with thoughts and prayers. I don't want to hear that anymore, thoughts and prayers. So many people on the left said yesterday. So my truth number 1 is addressed to my friends on the left. And I get it. I understand, my friends on the left, how righteously angry and pissed off you are about what happened. I get that. I understand how passionately you feel that you want us to do something about this uniquely American problem. I completely empathize with you, and I get it and I understand it. But to my friends on the left, please do not demean, don't demean thoughts and prayers. Don't. Thoughts and prayers are a good thing, an important thing. We all live in a country. We all live in the same society. We're all part of the same human race. Thinking about and praying for our fellow citizens whose children were gunned down, that's a good thing. It's an important thing. Don't demean it, my friends on the left. Don't demean it. And oh, by the way, everything's political. Politically, to my Democratic friends, my fellow Democrats and friends on the left, it's stupid politically to demean, to attack thoughts and prayers. Because the vast majority of Americans are praying people. are God-fearing people. The vast majority of Americans pray for the souls of those who've been lost. And even those who are not God-fearing, praying individuals, right? Plenty of non-religious people, maybe they didn't pray when they heard about what happened in Minneapolis, but man, they gave their best wishes, hopes, and thoughts to the victims and their families. Politically, it's just stupid to say, I'm done with thoughts and prayers. I don't want to hear that anymore, because you're offending the vast majority of Americans. To my friends on the right, don't you dare stop with thoughts and prayers, because thoughts and prayers ain't enough. So all my God-fearing, gun-toting buddies on the right, who all they can say is thoughts and prayers, and that's it. Conversation over. I've done my job. I'm a Republican congressman, a Republican senator. I've been thinking about and praying for the victims. We're done here. Let me go on to the next thing. Screw you. You're the problem. Don't stop with thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers, my friends on the left, are correct. Thoughts and prayers ain't enough. Thoughts and prayers are good. Thoughts and prayers are a start. Thoughts and prayers are an instant, normal, healthy human reaction, but thoughts and prayers are just the beginning. They are not enough. They are not the be all, end all. And all of you on the right who begin and end with thoughts and prayers, screw you, because you don't have the balls, you don't have the courage to seriously address this uniquely American problem. You can't handle the truth. If all you can say is thoughts and prayers, okay, we're done. You can't handle the truth, because that's bullshit. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. Truth number 3 to everybody listening right now. And this will be the hardest truth for me to put out there, because it may offend a lot of people. We live in a free society. We live in an open, free society. Now, I will acknowledge that we have a fascist in the White House who every day is trying to eliminate our individual liberties and our individual freedoms. But as of now, man, we live in an open, free society. And as long as we live in an open, free society, we can never stop bad, horrible people from doing bad, horrible things. That's just a truth. Understand what I just said. As long as we all agree to live in a free, open society, we cannot completely eliminate shootings or stabbings. We cannot completely eliminate bad, sick, evil people from doing bad, sick, evil things. I'm sorry, I wish that wasn't the case, but that is the case. Understand what I'm saying? We got to try to do whatever we can to minimize it. We got to try to do whatever we can to stop it. But in an open, free society, we can never eliminate completely bad, evil, sick people doing bad, evil, sick things. That's a trade-off. And by the way, It's like yesterday, again, the natural reaction. And I get it and I understand it. Parents and everybody yesterday, again, saying, oh my God, I shouldn't have to worry when I send my kids to school, or I go to the grocery store, or I drive into the next town. I should never, ever have to worry that I'll be the victim of gun violence or knife violence or any kind of violence. And to which I always respond with, God, I hope you never are the victim of gun violence. But in an open, free society, this is tough love. This is a truth. Whenever you walk out your front door, there's a risk of something. The shouts yesterday, do something, stop this. No parent should ever have to worry about their child being gunned down. As well-intentioned as those pleas are, they're not realistic in a free, open society. That's all. And I'll get to it in a minute. I'm not saying we shouldn't try to do everything we can to minimize those fears and those worries. But man, unless you want to live in North Korea, or unless you want to live in some authoritarian regime, if you want to get rid of all of our freedoms, we can never completely eliminate bad shit from happening. One way to look at this is crime. Trump. Look what Trump's doing. Like Donald Trump tomorrow could send 60,000 troops to the south side of Chicago and put those 60,000 troops on every street on the south side of Chicago. And if Trump did that, if any president did that, I guarantee you could pretty much eliminate crime on the south side of Chicago. If you put a soldier on every single block, you could eliminate soldiers. You could eliminate crime in a city. But you'd eliminate freedom too, which is why we don't do that. Which is why we don't put our military on our streets against our own citizens. Because if you put a gazillion troops in a city to eliminate crime, you might almost eliminate crime, but you will eliminate an untold number of acts of individual freedom as well. Because American citizens, their freedom will be impinged, their freedom to move about, their freedom to do whatever. It's a trade-off. And because we want to live in a free, open society, from the beginning, our founders, we don't put troops on our streets to eliminate crime. We don't do that. Do you see the trade-off? When it comes to guns, I suppose if you got rid of every gun in America, if you got rid of the Second Amendment, if you banned all guns in America, if we sent law enforcement and or our troops into every home and office in America and grabbed and absconded with every single gun in America. So if we got rid of every gun and banned every gun and got rid of the Second Amendment, I'll bet you we could almost pretty much eliminate gun violence in this country. But we can't do that. We shouldn't do that. That goes against basic American freedom. Get rid of the Second Amendment? That ain't going to happen. That shouldn't happen. Ban all gun purchases? That ain't going to happen. That shouldn't happen. It's an issue of freedom. Have the government go into homes and offices in America? They do that in other countries and grab guns? Fuck no. That can never and should never happen here. I'm just saying, everything's a trade-off, right? We want our children protected. We are a nation of freedoms. How do we balance that? We don't eliminate all freedom to make sure that every kid in America is safe. We don't, and we shouldn't. But hard truth number 4, we have to try. Hey, wake up, right? Wake up, MAGA. Wake up, gun owners. I say this as a gun owner. We have to try to do all we can to make sure that bad, sick, evil people don't get their hands on guns, don't buy guns, don't have guns. Just because I said in a free society we can't completely eliminate the bad, horrible stuff from happening, that doesn't mean we should not, as a society, do all we can to try to effectively minimize or stop mass shootings. And this is the hard truth that the right, again, generally just can't face, can't handle. I'm a gun owner. 99% of all gun owners in this country are legal, law-abiding gun owners, period. Can't get rid of guns, can't ban guns. Ain't gonna happen. But the vast majority of gun owners in this country, the vast majority of legal, law-abiding gun owners in this country will sit down at a table and work with the other side, all sides, to try to figure out what we can try to do to minimize or stop what happened in Minneapolis yesterday. And to not want to try, again, to say, don't you dare touch my gun, to say, thoughts and prayers, I did enough, and that's it. You're a coward. You're a coward. I will defend the Second Amendment in this country as strongly as anybody. But I will sit down at a table with anybody to try to figure out what we can do. Because this has got to stop. And I think there are things we can do. I know a lot of the left right away reflexively says we got to ban guns, get rid of assault weapons, weapons of war, and all of that shit. I get it. You've got the best of intentions, but that ain't going to happen, and that shouldn't happen. If you want to try to do something and find some common ground, what we need to do as a nation is do all we can do before a gun is bought. Before a gun is bought, to make sure a bad guy, sick guy, evil guy doesn't get a gun. We need to beef up background checks. We need to beef up waiting periods. We need way better coordination between the feds and state and local governments when it comes to background checks. We have to do all we can before a gun is bought. And I say this as a Second Amendment guy, I say this as a gun owner. By the way, the vast majority of gun owners in this country support the concept of universal background checks. We need to do a shitty job in this country. And I say this as a gun owner. We do a shitty job in this country of making sure bad, evil, sick people like that killer yesterday don't get their hands on guns. We need to do a better job securing places where our children are. Doing a better job of securing our schools. Our schools should be the most secure, safest places in the country. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but properly trained, armed adults, administrators, teachers in the schools, I'm all for. Again, I'm all for. I'll sit down at the table, put it all on the table. right? Let's beef up our background checks. By the way, you want to buy a gun? Damn it, you should have to undergo training. We've got states in this country where you can just literally, if you're of age, go buy a gun. Excuse me, you need to know how to use that gun. You need to be properly trained. Let's make sure people who buy guns are properly trained, right? Let's have better background checks, right? Let's maybe a longer waiting period, right? How about as long as they're constitutional, red flag laws where family members and neighbors and law enforcement can temporarily have a gun removed from somebody who they believe is a threat to themselves and or others. These are areas that, man, we got to look at, again, always to make sure a bad, evil, sick guy doesn't get their hands on a gun. We also need to do a better job of securing our schools. Put that on the table. Armed adults in our schools, put that on the table. And we're not going to get into it now, but mental health in this country, it's real. I know, don't roll your eyes at me, right? The right rolls their eyes at me when I say we got a gun problem. The right rolls their eyes. When I say we have a mental health problem in this country, the left rolls their eyes. It's both. It's both. The point here is, we're not going to live in a society that is not free. And as long as we live in a society that is free, we can't completely eliminate bad shit. But we need to do all we can do to try as best as we can to minimize or eliminate mass shootings and school shootings. Hey, truth number 5. Yes, it's the guns, my fellow Democrats say. Yeah, it is the guns. I'm with you. It is the guns. No doubt. I'm not going to avoid that. I'm not going to run away from it. I remember Ted Cruz was interviewed a couple of years ago after a mass shooting. And again, all Ted Cruz said was thoughts and prayers. And then and he said, and the interviewer said, well, Senator, this is a uniquely American problem, right? And Ted didn't even have the balls to acknowledge it. It is a uniquely American problem. We have an ungodly amount of guns in this country, more than any per capita, more than any other country in the world. We have a Second Amendment. It is a basic American freedom, unlike any other country in the world. And again, we have a gun culture that's sick right now. But it is the guns. We have way too many guns in this country. I will say that. It's too damn easy for people to get their hands on a gun. I'll say that. It's too damn easy in this country for people to legally get their hands on a gun and own a gun without any training. I will say that. This is a uniquely problem. To all my fellow Democrats and people on the left who say, Joe, I hear you, Joe, I love you, but it is the guns. I agree. It is the guns. Now, the catch here, my friends on the left, is I'm with you. It is the guns, but I say this with compassion. We're not getting rid of the guns. It is the guns, but we're never going to get rid of the guns. That's not going to happen. That would be like getting rid of free speech in America. That is never going to happen. That should never happen. To my friends on the left, on the right, it is the guns. Acknowledge it. Even as a proud gun owner, say that. But it also is mental health. It's both. Every American listening to me right now, it's both. This guy yesterday, he was utterly fucked up. I mean, he hated everyone. He hated himself. This was an act of suicide. He wanted to take a bunch of innocent people out. He wanted to take himself out. He loved neo-Nazis. This guy was all over the map in complete and utter hatred of everybody. He was sick. He was utterly messed up. He had mental health issues. And it's not out of line to say, where the hell were his parents? Where was his family? Where were his neighbors? Where were his friends? This 23-year-old guy was fucked up mentally. Did he get any help? Were there any red flags? Did anybody do anything? We have a major, I would say more than any other country in the world, we have a major mental health problem in this country. And we just don't want to wrap our arms around it. It's easy to yell, Joe, it's just the guns. It's just the guns. It's way more than that. But then the right, we don't spend the resources, commit the resources to do something about mental health in this country, because the right's cutting. Trump and MAGA continue to cut every dollar that goes toward mental health support in this country. So, all of my guys on the right yell, Joe, it's mental health. It's not the guns. It's not the guns, Joe. It's mental health. And then all they do is cut every government dollar that's supposed to go to mental health. Screw you. Until this country gets serious about mental health and treats mental health as we do physical health, this is going to continue. And until people look out for and speak up when they see something or know something. I don't know yet how this killer yesterday got his guns. He was 23 years old. He was mentally fucked up. His parents, did they know that? And did they know he had guns? Excuse me. Go to law enforcement. Excuse me. Do something. Did you know he was a danger to himself and others? Final truth here. And this one's to MAGA. All MAGA did yesterday, all the right did yesterday was thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, transgender. Like that. Those are the thoughts and prayers, transgender. Those are the only 4 words everybody on the right shouted yesterday, because supposedly this killer was also transgender. A transgender woman, like he identified as a woman. And oh my God, did the right jump on that? Ooh, thank God. Praise Jesus. I could hear them pray privately. Praise Jesus. This killer was a transgender. So many people on the right shouted to themselves yesterday. Point number 1, don't know for certain whether he was, but if he was, this guy was so fucked up and an utter cauldron of so much hate for everyone. He hated Israel. He hated Jews. He loved neo-Nazis. He hated Trump. He hated lefties. He hated everybody. The fact that he might have been transgender, man, was the least of his issues. But the right gloms onto that. And then the right gloms onto that and says, oh my God, we have a transgender mass shooting problem in this country. Ding, 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 ding. This is the problem, Joe. It's a sickness. We've got transgender shooting up Americans all over the country. Bullshit, utter lies, utter bigotry, utter transphobia. And by the way, a number of influencers on the right yesterday, because of this shooting yesterday, and because all they could glom onto was this guy might have been transgender, a number of influencers on the right said we need to eradicate transgenderism from public life. Those words, they said it. We need to eradicate transgenderism from public life. What an ugly, ignorant, bigoted, hateful thing to say. And thank God, by the way, that's not where most Americans are on transgender men and women, on our transgender brothers and sisters. Thank God. And by the way, as a former right-wing culture war warrior that I was, this is why I constantly implore my new party, the Democratic Party, to fight MAGA on this issue. Fight MAGA on all the culture war issues, but fight MAGA on the transgender issue, because the right believes that transgenderism should be eradicated. There should be no such thing. Again, ugly, hateful, but here's the beauty. The vast majority of American people don't think that. The vast majority of American people, when it comes to our transgender brothers and sisters, are loving, tolerant, and embracing. Let everyone live their life, live their true life in peace and freedom. Freedom. So Democrats, most of the American people are with you. Democrats get so afraid of fighting on these culture war issues. I want to slap my fellow Democrats upside the head. Don't be afraid to fight on these culture war issues. It's the right thing to do, and most Americans stand with you. But a little information to my MAGA brothers and sisters who say that, oh my God, we have an epidemic of transgender mass shootings in this country. Bullshit. That's a lie. By the way, if you want to eradicate transgenderism from public life because you think there are too many transgender mass shooters, well, then what you really need to do is eradicate young white men from public life. If you really, MAGA, if you really are concerned about mass shootings and school shootings, MAGA, you're focused on the wrong group of people. Man, we got to eradicate young white men. I mean, 98% of all mass shooters in this country are men. 62% are white men. The average age of a mass shooter in this country is a 29-year-old white man. I mean, the typical mass shooter in America overwhelmingly is a young white dude. So come on, MAGA. Lead the charge. Let's eradicate young white men from public life. That's the problem. Those are the mass shooters. Transgenders barely don't even, I mean, 0.00 whatever 1% of the American population. So in the last 3 or 4 years, there have been 2 or 3 transgender sort of mass shooters. Oh my God, this is a crisis. Excuse me. Damn near every mass shooter is a straight white American male, a straight white young American male. Those are the facts. That's the truth that our fellow citizens on the right simply cannot handle. Keith, I'm sorry I went long. I'll close. It's simple. We can either, every time there's a mass shooting, and I don't mind people getting political right out of the gate, that's fine. But we can either, every mass shooting, just go to our corners and shout our political talking points, or we can acknowledge basic truths and sit down at a table and societally and legislatively find common ground to try to do whatever we can to help minimize this problem. Can't completely. Wish we could. Can't completely. Unless you want to live in North Korea or Russia, you can't completely. But man, we could do a much better job of trying to find some common ground. It's the guns, it's mental health. So let's sit down and talk about all of it. Thank you for listening. I apologize I went on for too damn long. and I went on this topic for too damn long. I want to use my voice because I come from a gun rights place and a Second Amendment place. I want to use my voice to try to really get people to sit down and find common ground on this issue, if that's possible. I'm tired, like you are, of going through the same song and dance every time one of these happens. We got to be better. We got to be better. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, share, and follow The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and everywhere great podcasts are found. And be sure to leave a 5-star review. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.